It's suffice to say that the TMNT films have had a very iffy timeline of films up until this point. Although I will admit that the 2007 TMNT film is one of my most favorited animated films of all time, and I'm pretty fond of the 1990s and 2010s live action films as well. Even though the general consensus goes that these films are borderline cheeks to pretty much just average. And I can't help but have sympathy for the four Turtle Brothers because they deserve some great acclaim because they're just so likable and lovable, and the theme of trying to fit in the human world makes them some of the most likable superhero characters in all of the superhero world. The true potential for these guys to get a nice X Factor film is still very live, is still very present. We just haven't gotten it yet, and I'm still waiting for the day. Oh, hang on, wait a minute. Is this it? Is Mutant Mayhem finally the X Factor TMNT film that will make fans around the world unite and revolt the legendary Turtles against legends of the Marvel and DC Universe titans? Is this the film that will cause the Turtles to rise above titles such as average or bad? Well, let's talk about it. First things first, big fella. Anybody out there who is a fan of the old design of the Turtles, especially the 2000s design of the Turtles, there is some big changes underway. Basically now the Turtles are just kids, and practically everything about their sense of humor has changed. Their references have changed. The characters who used to be stoic and serious are all pretty much just funny and comedic, and that's not a bad thing necessarily, especially in this film, because in my opinion, the changes work. And trust me, I am the last person you would imagine to be saying that. I was such a fan of the way that Leo and Raph were in the 2007 film. I mean, how Leo was the stoic and forceful leader, and Raphael was the rebellious and asshole, almost anti-hero in a way. I was obsessed with it, man. I mean, I was borderline a super fan for a period of my childhood. Any day of the week, my boy, I'm putting Raphael versus Leo against any Avengers fight. Yeah, you heard right, motherfucker. I am taking that take to the grave. If anything, in Mutant Mayhem, Raph might just be the most lifeless character out of the four brothers, which sucks to say because he's borderline my favorite turtle. And there's practically nothing different about Donnie and Mikey. I guess Mikey is just a lot less annoying than he was in the 2007 film, but I think he was kind of annoying in a good way in the old films. To me, his constant pizza jokes and non-stop interrupting important convos were always accompanied with a good voice actor, so it never really bothered me, and I found him quite funny a lot of the times. And of course, like every other piece of TMNT media, Donnie is the least likable turtle of all four of them. But what I think this film does better than all the prior TMNT films is they make all the turtles act as a coalition. Instead of them being divided, it seems, for most of the films, all the turtles act kind of like as one character. And you'll understand that better once you see the film for yourself. This probably has something to do with them all wanting to be more involved in the human world, and they always just go back and forth when talking. No scene is accompanied by just one turtle talking. It's often all of them just blabbering over each other, and it just works so perfectly. It's very cohesive. There is plenty of witty pop culture references in this film as well. But now I'm going to contradict myself. Now that I just practically shitted on the new version of the Turtles, I do like them in plenty of ways too. I think their new design is great. I like how they're younger in this film, and the comedy is still great. It's just a lot more modernized than it used to be. Similarly to Leo, Master Splinter is a lot less of a badass in this film. He's a lot more uptight and scared of what the Turtles are doing above the sewers in this one than he was compared to the last movies. He has a lot less trust of them now, but that opens up some really cute and charming subplots of Master Splinter just reminiscing when the Turtles were younger and really just missing them a lot when they're above the sewers. So yeah, Master Splinter gets plenty of great screen time in this film, even though it's not that much screen time. Every part with him in the movie is great, and Jackie Chan does very well in the voice acting. Plus there is an adorable 10 to 15 minute segment of the backstory of the Turtles when they grew up from the ooze, and it is just such a happy and exciting scene, and it shows a lot of emotional depth with Splinter's character and how much he truly loves the Turtles. It's just adorable, man. So, concerning the 5 main characters, including the 4 Turtles and Master Splinter, I think they went 4 out of 5, and the only miss was Raph's character because there's no Raph rage in this movie, except for like a half-assed 2-minute segment with the final boss battle. It really lacks in showing any foreshadow to what Raph's rage could become in the future. But then there was the main villain that I love. I wish I never checked the casting before watching this movie, because when I found out that Ice Cube was the voice actor for Superfly, I laughed my ass off. His voice acting alone, how it practically just didn't fit the character's look, made it so much more funnier, and Superfly is definitely my favorite character in the movie. We learned plenty about his character within the hour and a half of this movie. We learned that he was technically the first mutant of Baxter Stockman at the beginning, who is essentially, for those that are not up to date with the TMNT lore, is a scientist that created the ooze that leaked into the sewage that made all of the mutants in the TMNT universe. I also just liked how Superfly started off as like a good guy, kind of chill with the turtles, and he went about his motive really nonchalantly, how he wants to destroy the humans, and how he just tries to get the turtles to side with him, so chill in a way. It's just such a funny and witty way of storytelling. So bravo, Nickelodeon. Honestly, man, bravo. You did great with Superfly. April was another good character. She followed around the turtles basically the entire second half of the film, and she's definitely a lot more useful and important than she is in previous films. I also somewhat admire the pacing in this film. It basically works as the first half is meeting the characters, and then the second half is the ultimate climax, which is pretty gimmicky, but it works out pretty well in this movie. It technically just feels like an elongated Nickelodeon episode, which I'm not really mad at, and it just makes the movie really easy to digest. But that's my 3-hour Irishman fan being really nitpicky about a 90-minute kids movie, so I better shut up. At the end of the day, this movie didn't really break the surface by any means. It wasn't over the top crazy or philosophically mind-blowing. It was just a really enjoyable 90-minute Nickelodeon movie that I think did really well representing the Turtles. Also, I just want to give a warning, don't be enthralled to watch this movie because of the voice actors. John Cena and Seth Rogen have very, very, very minimal roles in this movie and maybe make a couple of sound effects, and that's pretty much it. So definitely don't get distracted by the voice actors. That's of course excluding Ice Cube and Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan sounds like he's saying the F word every single time he says forget about it, which is damn near every single time he's on the screen. So is this finally the X Factor film that puts the TMNT brothers into a good light? And I say, I think so, man. I think this is it. This put them on a higher pedestal, finally. The combination of funny and witty characters and the fast-paced across the Spider-Verse type visuals make it just a really nice and easy to digest film. I think I'm gonna give it a 7 or a 7.5 out of 10. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think after the movie comes out. Comes out in a couple days, and I think you guys are going to have a blast, especially the kids. This is a great new addition to the TMNT family, and just a great Nickelodeon movie in general. So that will do it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and of course, I'll see you all later.